And we are live, I believe so. Hello and welcome to this webinar. My name is Dr. Alex Barker, founder of the Happy PharmD, where we help pharmacists create inspiring careers and lives. And today I want to talk to you about something that is near and dear to my heart, something that I've struggled with for quite some time and continue to battle and have overcome in many ways. It's imposter syndrome. Tonight, we're going to be unmasking pharmacists' silent saboteur and move from doubt to dominance. If you're here live, I'd love to see you in the comments because I'm going to be asking questions. The more questions we get, the better and deeper we can go on the subject. I'd love to know where you are viewing from in the world. I think that's an easy first question. Just to say, hey, I'd love to see people in the chat. And if you're watching in the future, hello. How is the future? I hope it's okay. I have 3 things that I want to go over tonight with you. The first one is to understand imposter syndrome and its triggers and causes, and adopt some strategies to transform from doubt to dominance, and then finally create an environment to diminish imposter syndrome. I've made imposter syndrome abbreviated as IS, just FYI. And hey, Sam! Ahoy, Sam. Good to see you here. Hello, Kelsey and Kevin and Madonna. Good to see you guys. Seeing some more comments here. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. These are my things that I want to go over, but I'd love to hear from you. What do you want to learn from this workshop? What would be an amazing time we spend together? Obviously, it would be amazing if I could help you never ever have imposter syndrome again, but maybe that's not realistic. What would you love to overcome tonight in this workshop? Hello, Cecilia. I know for me with imposter syndrome, I wish I would have been able to just be aware of it when I was younger. I've shared already in a couple of videos that I posted, I think last week, that imposter syndrome has made me embarrassed in the workplace. It has made me not confident. It has led me to almost take jobs that would have not led me to where I am today, and probably ultimately just as unhappy and unsatisfied with my career in the past. I think there's a little bit of delay in my comment, so I apologize for this, but I'd love to hear from you. What do you want to learn from this? Because by the end of it, my hope is that we can accomplish it together. Wow, lots of people. Hey, from Dallas, Bangladesh. You definitely win the farthest away. Hello, hello. Hello from Toronto, Kenosha. I know where that is. Hey, Carrie. Hey, good to see you. Hello from Lexington. Okay. So with that, I think it's time to jump in. Just to give you a kind of some inside knowledge here, a lot of what I'm going to be sharing tonight is based on research that I've done, my own experience as a coach, my own professional walk, what my coaches have helped me with, and how they've helped me overcome, as well as my own published research on. And after hearing lots of messages from people from my talks at PharmCon, where I've given talks live on the subject, people have said that we need to make this available to all. So with that, we're not going to have CE tonight, no accreditation. Sam, okay, here's some good stuff. I'm not sure if this is imposter syndrome, but how do you get over that little voice telling you to be quiet when you actually know an answer / what you're talking about interaction? That's excellent. Kelsey says, I want to be more confident when interacting with my peers. I always doubt myself. And Silvana says, I just started my pharmacy school. Hey, congrats. Congrats on making it. I'd love to know how to be, I think, self-aware, how to become more self-aware, maybe, myself with imposter syndrome during school. These are awesome, awesome goals. So, sounds like there's a little bit of confusion about what imposter syndrome is, and that's okay. We're going to talk about it. So, it's a psychological pattern where individuals doubt their accomplishments and fear from being exposed as a fraud. I had someone say in a presentation once, that sounds like you're overthinking it. It sounds like you're just stuck inside of your head. And that's not the case. It's a pattern of thought. It's not overthinking. In fact, sometimes it's actually a shortcut for your brain to avoid pain. Not sure if you've heard me talk about this before in the podcast or any of our YouTube videos, that we all have this lizard brain in the back of our heads that makes shortcuts happen as easy as possible. And what does your brain fear the most? It hates being in an environment where you're afraid that someone is going to socially embarrass you because you don't know something. You're afraid of maybe losing something like employment, income, safety, security. And so our brain is really good at tricking ourselves. Actually, it's even so good at getting us to freak out. So here's a quick story. When I was at a conference, I was invited to go to a women's luncheon for leadership purposes at a pharmacy conference. And at first I was like, okay, I'm a man. And so I thought, I don't know if I should go. And my friend said, no, you're an ally. You should totally come. And so I said, okay. Well, I didn't get a ticket. So I had to go buy one. And that meant I was late. So I walk into this room where everyone is sitting down and I'm the last person there. And I'm the only male in the entire room of about 100, 150 people. I have never in my life felt so embarrassed, so shocked, so just like, oh my gosh, this is, I don't belong here. I'm clearly a fraud. I'm not someone who belongs here. And I immediately found my friend and sat down and I was like, oh my gosh, I hate you so much, Jackie. Why did you encourage me to do this? But it actually taught me a really valuable lesson because she told me as I sat down, she said, Alex, you have fought for women in leadership. You have done a lot to advocate for females. And I had not ever thought about it or nor internalized it. And so my body tricked my brain into thinking you do not belong here and you deserve to walk right out the door. And I was in a dead sweat. My back was drenched. I was so nervous and glad that I had a suit coat on to hide my pit stains. That just happened a year and a half ago or 2 years ago now. It's hard to remember. But anyways, this is just a bodily function. It is a psychological pattern, and with time, it can be broken. But how it gets started can sometimes be a little bit of a mystery for people. Well, it all starts with a task. So this could be anything from I need to, for our students in the audience, I need to be involved in a discussion with other students or even a pharmacist. For pharmacists, it could be I need to perform my clinical duties while on phone, surrounded by other potentially smarter people than me, and I'm afraid of being found out. And so because of that task, there's some anxiety, there's self-doubt. What if I'm wrong? What if I say the wrong thing? What if they're listening? What if I say something dumb? And we start to maybe actually have an actual panic attack, or it just could be the self-perpetuating thought process. This can lead to over procrastination of a task. I'm sorry, over preparation or procrastination of a task. So if you're like me, sometimes it means preparing hours and hours and hours for presentations, or for others, maybe it meant they studied for hours or they stay late for work. And on the other side of it, it could be waiting until the last minute to do it. But eventually the task gets completed and there's immediate relief. Okay, I did it. That discussion is over. That patient case is done. The job is done. Or I applied to a job. But no matter what happens with the task, there is no feedback. There is no acceptance that you have done something of value, that you accomplished it. You immediately either just discredit yourself and saying you were lucky, or you're not that smart to really do this. You just kind of got by, or you just move on. And if you're an overachiever like me and you don't even think about it, case in point. So I know we have one student. Hey, Sylvia. This is Silvana. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but this is for you because I've actually done imposter syndrome research along with some brilliant academic people. Here I am in the reference. That's me, Barker A. But the reason why I include my research is because there's not a whole lot of research about imposter syndrome in pharmacists. But when I was asked to speak about imposter syndrome to pharmacists, I didn't even include my published research article in my presentation. Just like, seriously? It's a clear sign when you don't accept the fact that you accomplish things, or you're not proud of the things that you have done that so few could or even do. It's clear that's a sign that maybe you struggle with imposter syndrome. But our profession is, we established that a lot of the causes of imposter syndrome, just through some surveys, is that we have high expectations put on us, of course, because of our work, what we do on a day-to-day basis. And imposter syndrome is not like cancer. You have it, you don't. It is a spectrum. It is something where it can be severe at times, and other times it can not be present whatsoever. But about 95% of pharmacy students said that they have moderate to intense imposter syndrome. And guess what, students? You're in good company, because the professors that we surveyed have just about the same rate of imposter syndrome. Now, yeah, we didn't have the greatest sample size. Okay. So definitely some weakness here, but still, imposter syndrome, just in students and professors of pharmacy students, is rampant. So I want to ask you, what do you think has caused your imposter syndrome, or if you have felt it in your lifetime? What has caused this in you? What circumstances do you think have led you to feel this way? Hey, Ray, by the way, this is one of my support staff. If you could, I would love it if you could just capture some of the view counts, because our internal records here are never right. There's always more people on YouTube than what we have. Kevin says a lack of experience in a new role. I think a lack of experience. I think something different is happening for that, especially when convincing yourself that perhaps you shouldn't apply to a job or you shouldn't be at a new place. I think that's more self-doubt than actual imposter syndrome. Um, And that's a caveat that we can talk about maybe in the Q&A. Madonna shares, being surrounded by professionals have more experience than you do. Wow, it's really easy to feel like a fraud when you're comparing your beginning, especially, to someone else's end. But yeah, that's exactly what could be causing it. Great point. According to the literature, these are the 5 main causes of imposter syndrome. And there's many others, but these are the main ones. When you are a high achieving personality, if you think that you're not a high achieving personality, and if you're in the audience and if you're a pharmacist, I think you're maybe you don't really know yourself, because any pharmacist is a highly accomplished person, someone who is highly intelligent and capable of achieving some very complex thinking. Because no matter what you say, in order to pass pharmacy school and get a license, you are doing something very few people are capable of doing. Perfectionism, I feel like, is every pharmacist. um, and I think another side to perfectionism as well is just being so incredibly hard on yourself. When you believe that you're never enough. I more so do this in my family life than in my work life. When I was going through depression in 2021 and the beginning of 2022, I would constantly tell myself, you're a bad dad. You're a bad husband. You're a bad son. You're a bad friend. I would just have these thoughts all the time going through my head. And they were especially bad during my depression. But truthfully, they were present during the majority of my life. Whenever I thought I didn't measure up to some impossible metric, I wasn't perfect. I wasn't being my best self. What a horrible way to live life. I have since learned how to go past that. And a fear of failure obviously makes sense, right? I'm a fraud, I'm a failure. But there's also a fear of success. And a lot of people don't really consider that a thing. But you see it all the time in successful people. You see them self-sabotaging. If you want to look for famous examples, Tiger Woods, at the height of his game, has an affair. Bill Clinton, another great example. In his second term, country was doing relatively the best it's ever done. Also has an affair. Kanye West. The list goes on and on. When we achieve a certain amount of success, it's really easy for us to sabotage ourselves from achieving anything more than what we have achieved, because it's uncomfortable to go beyond what we're used to. It doesn't feel good all the time, feeling good. This is a whole other subject that I would love to teach a webinar one day. But I believe that we all have our certain level of success thermometers within ourselves, that when we start achieving more and more or doing better, we find ways subtly to get ourselves back to a normal level of success and failure. Also, success could mean, hey, if I get a new job, if I leave this one behind, then I'm leaving all of my friends, my colleagues. I'm afraid of that. I'm dependent upon that. I'm afraid that if I get a new job, I have to move to a new town away from my family. And that leads into the next cause, family and culture. I think there was an expectation on me once grade school started. You are an A-B student, Alex, and a C won't do. And that's a great expectation for a really smart kid. But over years, that kind of creates a perfectionist-like mentality. Oh, this one hits home. Most of the time, I feel I'm not good enough to do the task. And when he has competitors, I feel that he or she is better than me. that sure makes the job search process really hard because you're competing against everyone else who could or could not be better than you. Who knows? And then finally, as we kind of alluded to with the lack of experience, unfamiliar tasks and environments. Experience can be gained, but if you're constantly being put in an environment where the unknown is present all of the time and you just can't seem to get a hold of it, imposter syndrome can kick in. What I'd like to know is, how has imposter syndrome affected your life and your career? You can be as vague as possible if you're afraid of sharing what you really want to feel. Um, I try to make these webinars, I know it's public, but I want to make them as open, as non-judgmental as possible. In fact, I try to share as many as embarrassing stories as possible from my own journey, just so that people feel comfortable that they're around an idiot. For me, it's almost led me down wrong paths. Um, I I don't know if you could really say that I had imposter syndrome about being a comedian, but in high school, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make people laugh all of the time. But ultimately, I relied on my smarts to get me into pharmacy school and choose a health science career because that was a safe career over pharmacy. Ooh, this one hits home. Easy to feel like a fraud when people demean your degree because of ignorance. We have such a weird profession. I'm a career coach, so I talk with coaches in other fields, and every profession has their uniqueness and their quirks. But I have not seen a profession yet that has a doctorate level demand of knowledge required to do a job, if not experience for those that have bachelors, and yet does not feel like their degree is worth something. Bree shares not feeling supported or getting recognition for all I do. Sam, my man, Sam. I was a pretty mediocre student during didactic parts of school. Even though I've been out 10 years, I still feel twinges of inadequacy compared to those who seem naturally smart. Bree shares burnout as a consequence. Yeah, there is some ties to imposter syndrome and burnout, because if you constantly feel like a fraud, you have to constantly prove to yourself, and even you may have to prove to others, even though there's no mandate for that, but you're constantly proving that you're not a fraud, and that can cause you to overwork, minimize your own success. Kathleen, you're sassy tonight. It's affected my career when I encounter some moron who demeans my accomplishments. I turn it around on them. Maybe not healthy, but boy, it's like a bullet. I didn't read the whole thing. I don't know if there's a swear word or not, but it looks like it didn't finish the whole comment. Madonna, this imposter syndrome has led me to accept crumbs from others when in reality I should be asking for more. Kathleen, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're real here. We're not some big association that's going to demean you for what you share. All is welcome. I think we've hit a lot of the impacts of this. Chronic self-doubt, attributing success to luck, fear of failure and success is both a cause and impact. I mean, if I was able to get over my fear of failure or success so long ago, who knows where I would be? I'd be on the moon by now or on Mars. I don't know. But it also causes overworking, which of course leads to burnout, underestimating one's abilities, not advocating for oneself, and low self-esteem. Rosanna, hey, good to see you. I literally have led a perfect for job and me posting expire while deliberating whether I meet the qualifications. Yes. Fear of success is real. And on that note, imposter syndrome has a huge success on everyone's job search, causing us to hesitate. That's the first one, Rosanna. I'm sorry to hear that you went through that. It's time to apply the next time you see it. Underselling yourself, stress, anxiety, avoidance of networking, of doing the very things. When I see a pharmacist who, particularly maybe who has gone through our coach program and is not seeing progress in their job search, I see these things. I see not doing the activities that would lead to having job interviews and job offers. And I think imposter syndrome is deeply embedded, not just in our training, but it's in our culture. If you want a really quick kind of, do I have it? Here's a self-assessment. You can take a screenshot or pause it here. But these questions, if you answer more than like 2 of them here, then you probably have it. But if you would like an actual clinical, I wouldn't call it diagnosis because it's not a disease and it's not, ICD-9 or whatever, ICD diagnosis. It's not nothing like that. Or is it 10 now? I don't know. I'm not a clinician anymore, but it's not anything like that. But you could check out Clance. Clance's imposter phenomenon scale. That will give you like a 20 question questionnaire that will tell you if you have it moderate, severe, or only slightly. But I think just by talking and hearing other people share their own journeys, you can kind of make out for yourself, do I have this? And so with that, we talked about imposter syndrome causes and triggers, environments that lead to imposter syndrome, our training. We talked about the causes, whether it be our upbringing or family. Is there anything that's unclear to you, perhaps, about your causes and triggers? Now is the time. Now is the time. Rosanna, hey. Great to see you too. Because of the delay in the live stream, I'm just, if you do have a question, you're not interrupting anything, just go ahead, ask. And so now I want to talk about adopting strategies to transform to doubt to dominance. And my computer went to sleep. Of course, at the second stage. A critical step to empowerment or overcoming imposter syndrome is identifying whether you have this or not. Coaching or talking to someone who's been through something like this, it's just like a mirror. When I was a kid, I had like really, really bad acne. And I would constantly look in the mirror every day just to see on my face, okay, what horrible monstrosity is in my face that I need to take care of before I go to school and get made fun of for my acne. You could see the scars if you get a close up enough to my cheeks. I mean, well, I'm glad those years are over. But mirrors are important. If I didn't have a mirror, who knows? I could have left my face with a big old honking, nasty white head on the side of my face or on my nose or chin or wherever. We look at the mirror every morning to evaluate ourselves, to see, do I have anything wrong with my face? Do I look okay? Do I look healthy? Do I need to address a blemish? Do I need to shave my overgrown beard? In the same way, talking with a coach in particular for me has been so helpful because it points out my decisions and why I make those decisions and what it stems from. And it's helped me become so much more aware of my own thought process, my psychological pattern. Because remember, that's what this is. It's not a disease. It's not depression. There is an actual thought process going on that is triggered every time you're put in that loop cycle. Remember, this cycle here, where you have a task before you. Just by becoming aware of something, you're able to begin to treat it. Now, you could look in a mirror and maybe not address the pimple or the ear hairs, or for yourself, address your own imposter syndrome. But I think if you're here, you're wanting to overcome it. And really, the first step to overcoming this is to really just accept it. I think for years for me, I was wanting to deny that this was a part of me for so long. I'm a leader. I have a voice in pharmacy. I want to empower pharmacists to practice at the top of their license and take amazing jobs and start businesses. How can I be afraid of being a fraud? But the truth is that by accepting it, you can begin to acknowledge its existence, that it is here. This is a thought. You do have this problem. And then you can begin to shift it into a different direction. If you're thinking about what is this process, how do you begin to recognize it? The next time that you have a task that creates any kind of anxiety for you, remember this process. The next time you're in an environment, you're surrounded by other people that are smarter than you, which by the way, they're probably not, or they know more than you, and you begin to have this self-doubt. You can begin to recognize it and call it out. I feel anxious. I am beginning to think I don't know as much as I want to know. Just by pointing out something, you can begin to address it. You know, if you don't know that you have an infection on your face because you didn't look at the mirror, then you won't treat it until it gets so bad that you maybe feel the pain or someone else sees it on you. I don't know why I'm going with the infection or pimple analogy here, but I think the mirror is an important one. Without knowing what we look like, without seeing it in ourselves, then we're never going to change. But I do want to point something out in recognition here. Do you realize that incompetent people don't have imposter syndrome? Incompetent people don't have this problem. If you're intelligent and if you're a pharmacist, then I also believe you probably have some social skills as well. Then I believe you have enough self-awareness to know that you don't know everything. And there are some things that you don't know. Incompetent people are not aware of their weaknesses. They are not aware of the fact that they don't know everything. I would love some incompetent people in the chat right now to be really offended. Sam throwing some knowledge bombs here about the Dunning-Kruger effect. Look it up on Wikipedia later if you don't know. They don't. What does that mean about you? It means that you probably are competent. If you're a pharmacist and you've been practicing and you achieved your license, then the state government, practically the federal government, the most powerful force in our nation, has deemed you worthy to practice something, to do a job. They've acknowledged you, and yet you still have not. I hope that this juxtaposition between someone who's competent like you and someone who is incompetent perhaps gives you a little bit more bolster to recognize, okay, I have this problem. I have imposter syndrome, but there's a reason for it. I know what I don't know, or I don't know what I don't know. And I'm willing to accept it. Because once you can accept it, then you can start shifting into using some toolkits. These are going to be actionable things that you can go from doubting to yourself to having some dominance in the workplace. And the first one is really super easy, and it's by accepting past accomplishments. So for me, for example, you can kind of see it in the background right there. I've got my book. I wrote a book. Less than 1% of the world's population ever writes a book. Right here is a picture of me, all of my friends in Star Wars as Star Wars characters. These are my friends. I've made these friends. Over here, I've got my degrees. And over here, you can't see it. Now you can see it. In my office, I have a bunch of letters, accomplishments. I've got images. I've got me speaking in front of people. I've got notes from my family to remind me of who I am. Because it's very easy for my mind to trick myself into thinking that I'm a sack of crap. I'm keeping it PG, Kathleen. It's easy for anyone to begin to think you're an idiot, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're a failure, you're never going to succeed. You may as well not even try. But when you can leverage your past accomplishments, you can see them. When you can see the efforts you've done, whether even if it's something as simple as your degree, your NAPLEX passing score, your GPA, your grades, so few people are capable of doing what we do. You may think, oh, so they could figure it out. No, they couldn't because they didn't, but you did. If you think, oh, I have nothing to be really proud of, then I would begin to ask you, what is in your life that brings you a modicum of joy? What brings you any kind of happiness? And that could be your family. That could be your friends. That could be your hobbies. These are the things that make you a part of you. And if there's nothing in your career that you're proud of, then I think it's time to look inward, both for your family's sake, but for your own sake, to begin to do something that you can be proud of. I remember talking with a pharmacist who had been working in retail and then went over to mail order pharmacy. And she was fed up with our profession. And she ended up roading. It's late for me. I normally go to bed now. She ended up writing a series of letters that she was able to send to congresspeople about the horrible things that are going on in our profession. And she used that energy to notify other pharmacists that they could copy these letters and send them to congressmen. And those letters have started conversations with pharmacy associations and congressmen, and it's starting to turn the wheels of change. Before, she felt like she wasn't really proud of what she has done. Now she has something. She feels like she's contributing to something bigger. Whatever your past achievements are, I would encourage you to take time after this webinar and really write them down. What are the top 3 things in my career, my work that I'm proud of? It doesn't have to be pharmacy related. It would be great if it was, especially if you're looking for something new and better. But if it's not, then maybe it's worth addressing for you. What is something that I could do that I could be proud of? You don't need a job to do something better. You don't need a job to feel proud for the work that you can do. There are things that you can do right now that you can be proud of? And that's what I want to leave you the question with. What work experiences are you proud of? If you haven't thought about this already, this should be on the top of your resume, your cover letter, your application. It should be the things that you talk about during interviews. It is the gold, the magic that helps you not feel like a fraud anymore. And then the next exercise I want you to do is, this is more for in the moment feeling. When you feel that doubt, when you feel that anxiety about doing something, this is an exercise to help you get past it. This actually comes from both being coached, someone helping me when I was going through it, when I actually was experiencing my depression and I thought I was failing and everything was crumbling all around me. This is the exercise that I did that honestly helped me get through the week sometimes. And I think it can help you because I've seen it work in people, both in my clients, my friends, and even people within my own company, because it's easy to feel like a failure. So this exercise has really three main parts. The first part is stating the new truth, or as I like to call it, this is the it's possible exercise. Then it's addressing three fears that you have about said task. And then after that, you write as many it's possible statements as possible. The reason why you want to write this down, although if you do it a few times, I think it's fine if you do it in your head, but I think it's so important for you to do this, writing it down, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but 1 minute you can be afraid of being called dumb or afraid of losing your job or afraid that you're not going to get a new job or get asked for an interview. And then the next minute, you're worried about North Korea bombing our country. Fear has this really, I don't know why I went political there. And oh, oh no, Alex is worried about it. Yeah, I've thought about it. But fear does that to us. 1 minute we're thinking about something really small, and fear does this amorphous thing where it gets bigger and bigger and it becomes something that's all encompassing. And then we're buying, seed and food supplies just in case of nuclear fallout. Like, there's no reason for that, but that's what fear does to us when we allow it to control ourselves. When you write it down, it's literally like you're taking a hammer and nails to fear in your head and you're pinning it to the wall. You're not allowing it to change and morph in your head anymore. So I thought I would come up with an example for this. The example I had was, maybe you're afraid to apply to a job. Maybe you're looking at a new job and you think to yourself, you know what? I don't qualify for this job, or I'm not going to get asked. So why even try? The new truth is kind of like the opposite of that fear or that doubt that you have for the task in the moment. So I wrote the opposite of that is, I am worthy to apply for an ideal job I want. Remember, imposter syndrome, it's just a thought process. That's all it is. And it leads to unnecessary outcomes. So the way to address it is to, of course, be aware of it, but then to begin to think in a different way. And in order to begin this pattern so that it becomes natural, it's very much a manual process. You have to begin to identify what is the new thought that you want. Oh, no, but your brain is really good. Your brain is really good at rejecting this idea. Actually, it's shoot. My camera's backwards. It's really good at tricking you. So you have to call out, what are your fears? You have to address them. So I wrote down 3 fears. I don't have the stated experience they want. I lack certification, residency, degrees, other experiences that other people may have. And I'm afraid I'm just wasting my time. Legitimate fears. And maybe these are even thoughts that you just they come in and they go, and they dog pile on you from escaping from the process that you've had maybe for years, if not decades. They're really good at that. And remember, it's not until you become aware that you can even really see this happening in your head. But now what you get to do is you get to be creative, and you get to reinforce the new statement, the new truth that you want to believe. And so for this example, I wrote down, it's possible for me to get a new job. That is a possibility. And it's because I've seen other people do it. I can get experience through shadowing, volunteering, and even taking classes if I really want to. I can reframe my past experience to be more in line with their job opening. I can shift what I've done in the past to match their job opening. And my time is worth pursuing a new career. So I'll dedicate 3 hours a week to the endeavor. What I really like about this process is that this can honestly become your weekly to-do list. If you feel like on Monday morning, that's when perhaps the doubt, the fear, anxiety is the worst, often because it's the first day of the week, right? The first day of work for most people. You can begin to hash through what are the things that you are going to do this week in order to address this new belief that you want. And that's true if you feel like you are the dumbest person in the room, if you feel like you're going to be found out while on residency rotations, while you're looking for a new job, when you start your new job and everyone else seems smarter than you. This process can honestly help you kind of figure out what do you need to do in order to make this belief a reality. And so with that, I wanted to show you some strategies that have helped others and have helped me. That last exercise, the It's Possible exercise, was very much a game changer. Um, when when I dealt with depression for like a year and a half, maybe a little less than that. I mean, I would go days just constantly thinking that I was not make a difference in the world. I was a sack of crap. But this exercise, I mean, probably about 3 months into my depression, I was able to really, I wouldn't say shift things around because I was dealing with some family health issues that, um, were honestly the cause of the depression. But I was able to at least maintain some level of productivity and efficiency. Kind of needed to do that as the CEO of a company. Do we have any questions about adopting these strategies for yourself? If we were here in person, I would love to hear examples and we would have gone through them. But we're already about 10 minutes in and we still have a whole other objective to get through. Oh, here's some love. Look at this. We've all been doubting our abilities, feeling like a fraud, but here's the truth. You are not alone. And you're not an imposter. Hell yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Heck yeah. Your uniqueness and talents are real and they deserve to shine brightly. Absolutely. And so now to end without questions, and if you do have a question, don't hesitate to reach out to me privately. You can send me an email message at alex@thehappypharmd.com. I know that some of this stuff can feel like it's hitting home and you may not feel comfortable sharing it with the world. I get it. But now let's talk about creating an environment to diminish imposter syndrome. Look at these happy folks. We've had a dog eat dog world in our society for quite some time. And things started shifting around the 80s in some industries, although many would argue that it's still present today. It honestly starts with you and me, talking about this problem, seeing it in ourselves, and seeing it in other people. And when applicable, when you have an open and trusting relationship, calling out behavior when you see it. The way to support others is by building trusting relationships where you not only feel supported, but you support others. And sadly, many work environments in pharmacy today don't create this. Now, it's not always true. I think we all know cultures and companies that perpetrate this imposter syndrome. It's not true across the board at every institution or every small pharmacy that major corporations own, but I've talked to many. I've talked to many enough to know that in general, a lot of people feel like they're just never doing enough. And for everyone here that's watching this, I think the best thing that you can do is begin to see this in yourself. And by addressing it within you, you can begin to see it in other people. And when you have a good relationship with others, it starts by reaching out and asking, maybe they need help. Maybe you see them overworking themselves. And if you're overworking yourself, it's hard to reach out, right? Just like the old analogy that everyone uses for coaching or self-help, that if the plane is going down, what do they tell you to do first? Put the oxygen mask on you, because if you don't, well, then you probably can't help someone else. And if you are in that environment, then I would encourage you to change the environment, whether through your own power, and especially if you're a leader watching this. This is on you. We have to do something about this. We can't let this keep going on. There's absolutely no more reason for highly intelligent people like we are as pharmacists to allow this to happen. And when I say that, I don't mean that we have to solve every cause for, like, we can't fix people's upbringings. We can't always fix people's personalities because some people are going to be high achievers more than others. We can't do that. But what we can do is create environments where we call it out for what it is and we help people overcome it through plans, through support, through conversations. And that is why I'm loving that people are here and calling out for what it is. Sam, Rosanna, Kathleen, I know you guys have been talking about this, and I've seen you talk about this in other webinars that I've done in the past. When we can connect with others, we're that much more powerful because we've all been there. I'll show this comment before because it was so flipping good. I don't know if YouTube will ban anything I say live if I swear, but I doubt they would. But it was flipping good. You're not alone. It's why reaching out and getting to know others is so important, especially if you're on the journey of trying to make the most out of your career, or if you're trying to start a new business, or if you're trying to create something new in your own company, or you're trying to go for a promotion. When you're alone, it's so easy to fall within your own thought patterns and think, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I can't do this. And you start even looking for outside indicators. This person doesn't like me. They're never going to hire me. They're never going to promote me. They're never going to let me do this project. But when instead you're surrounded by others who believe in you as much as you deserve is when we can start getting past this phenomenon. And I think it begins by creating a culture of support and growth. It's a culture that I want to perpetrate within the entire industry. I've said before in different ways that my ultimate goal for my company is to gain enough influence to cause major organizations, major companies within pharmacy to stop these kinds of work cultures. I want to have enough influence. They feel like they have to address the fact that people are overworked, they're burned out, they're stressed, and they don't feel like they're ever good enough. Because when I have that power, I don't know why I got maniacal. I'll look back on this and really regret it. It's getting late. But I really do. If I can have that kind of influence, and if we can collectively, if our voice as pharmacists can get loud enough, and it doesn't have to be me, it can be our associations, it can be our leaders in pharmacy, it can be an executive within these corporations where they say, okay, enough is enough. Our people need breaks. Our people need lunches. Our people need support. They need actual good managers that believe in them and that want to help them, that want them to succeed. They hired them. They spent all the money, time, and energy to hire these amazing people. Let's get them working at their highest capabilities, not to the point of overworking them, but to the point where they're both satisfied with what they do, making a difference for patients, and satisfied and happy at the end of the day, that they can go home to their families and turn off their brain and not have to worry about what they missed or what they didn't do and enjoy time with their families. When I think about my own company culture at my company, the Happy Farm D, I rest a little happier knowing that my employees' family members are like, they're happy because they're happy. They're happy with what they do. They know that they're making a difference for people. These are the strategies that we have to implement. And if you are looking, though, for more support, you're talking to the guy. I think for you, there are really 3 routes that I would encourage you to take. If you feel like there's inadequacy, maybe it does mean going back to college. Maybe it does mean taking a class or a course. Although I often think that pharmacists overestimate their need for more education to do jobs, because I've seen people get on the job training and do amazing jobs, even without residencies and doing clinical jobs. I'm tired of this rumor that it's a myth that people need residencies to do every kind of clinical job. Yes, we need to do PGY2s probably for very complex jobs like in the ICU unit. Yes, of course. But that's not the end all be all. You don't have to be that. And I think mentoring is another great way. Finding someone who's done something that you want to do and asking them to come alongside them is a great way. But I'm a big believer in coaching as being one of the best solutions. I have a coach. I just met with my coach today. Excuse me. And we were talking again about this very problem within me, even though I'm talking about it tonight. He spotted another area in my life where I have been using old strategies to overcome my own incompetencies. When he pointed out to me, "You're not incompetent at this. You've never needed to operate in this way." Truthfully, it was about goal setting. I have resistance to doing things at times, and I overcomplicate things, and I don't need to do it. I overwork myself. I set flippin' way too high expectations for myself. But my coach was able to show me a mirror of myself and reflect back to me what I was doing and what I need to do differently in order to be more effective and better at what I do. And I know that we've talked about a lot of ways imposter syndrome affects people. And I think it affects more and more people to go for jobs. I see a lot of our prior clients in this chat, and I want to shout you guys out. I want to make sure that you guys know we have a community that you need to be a part of because we're talking about a lot of these issues and things. Let me know if you didn't get the invite because I see this all the time. I see people saying, I don't think I'm good enough to apply for this job, or I'm not reaching out to people because I don't know what I can contribute or what I can do. And this is the part where I get to invite you into a community and a group where we're going to not only be beating down our imposter syndrome, but also helping you achieve your career goals. So if you are ready to get ahead and to go forward and to get a job that you would enjoy or get a promotion or start a business or start growing something, who knows what it is, a website, a side gig, you want to be proud of what you do in your career. I would love for you to be a part of a new group coaching program that I'm putting together. And of course, we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome, but we're also going to be creating really a flow for you to not only discover what the kind of work that you would love to do, but also the strategy to start doing that work and getting into jobs and careers that you would love. Or if it's starting a business, it's getting clear about your vision and knowing what it is that you want to be doing with this and how to move into that next step. Sam, you crazy dog, purchasing a business, I believe it can happen. Talk to me later, Sam. You're an alumni of our program. This isn't for you. You get the special treatment. Send me a message later, Sam. I'm curious. Oh, I think I actually know what it is, but you're causing me distractions. I'd love to you be a part of this group to help you achieve your career goals. And this is the first time I've actually publicly talked about this, but we actually have a completely new program where we are dedicated to helping you until you get the job or business that you want. And this is what our program actually looks like. It is a group coaching program that we're not going to have any more than 10 people in. We'll have 6 sessions starting on September 30th, starting every other week and going until about the end of December. We'll be meeting on Saturday mornings, about an hour, hour and a half. We'll be going through this strategy, thinking about the bigger picture, the vision of our career, where we're heading, where we're going to accomplish, and then hashing out the strategy to making that happen. I'm going to be leading it. Now, I haven't done this in about a year and a half, this group coaching program. I'm very excited to getting back into it. If I'm very honest with you, I've took some time off for my own family health reasons and depression, and I'm back, baby, and I'm excited more than ever because we used to have an old guarantee with our program. And we've moved away from it because it had a certain time limit associated to it. But now our program is dedicated to helping you until you get your job. It has what we call Career Jumpstart and our entire content library that walks you through step by step how to do all these things, from crafting resumes, cover letters, doing interviews, your LinkedIn, even things like side hustles and starting businesses, to learning what makes you great and how to sell yourself. And also have 2 calls with me, your private coach. You'll be talking with me about your journey, about your progress, what's holding you back, and how to move forward. In our community, we are also doing weekly workshops. This week, I'm actually going to be addressing employment gaps and how to leverage those for your interviews. We do those live and they're also recorded so that you can check them out whenever you want. And then as well in our program, we've added having 2 career path expert calls. We have just about 15, I think now, career coaches on our team across multiple different fields of pharmacy, from business to just about every pharmacy career, just about. And you can have 2 calls with them, or two different ones, I suppose, with 2 different individuals to learn more about the path. And then we also have our community that we've just made, and we're so excited about this because it has workshops in it, goals, resources, as well as jobs. I think, yes, we've posted some jobs already. Oh yeah, and we've just created this new 24/7 coach called Alex AI, where anytime you feel stuck, you can talk with me as an AI program. If you're already a client, I can get you access to this because I know we have some clients here. But you can talk to this guy anytime. Hey, Alex, that's a great name you got there. How can I assist you today? It's so freaking cool. And I'd love for you to interact with it and help you with whatever roadblock you're going through in your own career journey. And of course, we'll help you design a new application, new resume and cover letter, a mock interview. And finally, the most exciting thing that this is the first time I've ever publicly talking about it, is my new pharmacy career pathfinder assessment. This is an assessment that I've been working on for five years, folks. If you're already a client, talk to me in the community and I'll get it to you in October. But in this group, I'm going to be delivering it to you. This assessment looks at what is most important to you, the things that naturally motivate you, your soft skills, your hard skills, and it will help identify career paths that you should consider. I am so psyched about this. I can't contain how much joy I have about how amazing this thing is, because we've looked at the data behind it and we know that it is 95% reliable and valid. It is so cool, so amazing. I can share so much more in our community, and I'm going to more on that later. And if you would like to get jump started in your career, all it takes is a conversation. I like that we're pharmacists, and I like the very fact that to talk with one of our career advisors to learn more about the program, it's free to do so, just like talking with a pharmacist at a local pharmacy. Call us anytime, but if you want to schedule an appointment to see if this program is right for you, you can go to thehappypharmd.com/decoding, because this is decoding imposter syndrome. You'll talk with Eric or Tamar, one of our lovely career advisors, and learn more about our program and see if it's the right fit for you. Remember, we're dedicated to helping you discover whatever your career is. And not everyone is a straight line. A lot of people are jags, ups and downs, just like me. And it takes time to discover work that you would really love to do. And I would love to be a part of that journey. I'm very excited about this. To book a call, you just gotta click that link. I'll put it in the banner here. And it'll pop up a calendar and you can book a time to talk with one of our team members. And now is the time where I say thank you for sticking around for a few extra minutes. And I'm happy to take any questions that you may have about imposter syndrome, about career coaching, about the Happy PharmD. And I just want to see if there's anything else I can do, or maybe something I didn't cover that you wish I did. Because this topic is, we could have gone 3 hours and done way more in-depth stuff and workshops, but we got to keep it to an hour. I'll stick around for just a few minutes, but thank you all for hanging around with me and sharing your own journeys for your imposter syndrome journey. I'm still on mine, still recovering fraud or fear of being a fraud. Hey, Sarah. Sarah, I know you're in the community. If anything I've shared is something that you would like to see, please let me know. We talked about this, though, I think recently. Thanks, Rosanna. Good to see you. Love to catch up sometime. Send me a message. Love to hear from you. Thanks, Kathleen. I appreciate your sassiness. Please come back. Hey, thanks, Sam. 32, baby. If there's no other questions, then I am going to enjoy the rest of my night, spend some time with my family, watch some anime, and probably play some video games. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great one, and we'll see you in the next masterclass. All right. Bye, everyone.